KIMT News 3, Iowa, Minnesota, together. This is KIMT News 3 at 6 in high definition.
1 year after a shooting in southern Minnesota, still no arrests. We'll have the latest on the investigation coming up. First, though, tonight, the court proceedings are over. Kenneth Adams of Mason City has been sentenced, and now for the first time, family members are sharing their thoughts about what happened.
Adams was found guilty in the death of his son, but even before the trial, Tiffany Adams, Owen's mother, tells us she's been taking things day by day. KIMT News 3's Levi Ismail talked with her earlier and joins us now live. Levi.
Thank you, Sarah. I'm here at the Cerro Gordo County Courthouse where the trial for Kenneth Adams took place earlier this fall. Today I got a chance to speak with Tiffany Adams, who tells me that her family has been struggling through this situation, but right now all they can do is try and move forward.
I knew being there was going to be hard, and nothing you can do can prepare you to be in there and to go through that.
It's an experience you hoped you never have to encounter, but for Tiffany Adams, her search for the truth could not keep her away.
For myself, I needed to be there. I needed all the evidence. I needed to know what the jury was going to base their decision on. I needed to know as much as I could find out about what had happened.
This October, a jury found Kenneth Adams of Mason City guilty of child endangerment resulting in the death of his 19-month-old son, Owen. Family and friends were on hand to hear and see every detail of what investigators say took place that fall afternoon in 2012.
You don't think about it until it's happened to you. Your whole life has been changed, how the simplest things and the smallest things affect so much.
Earlier this month, Kenneth was sentenced to the mandatory sentence of 50 years behind bars with the possibility of parole. But for the time being, Tiffany is preparing for the day she will explain to her two children where their father has gone and why he won't be back anytime soon.
We saved the newspaper articles and we saved a lot of the information we got throughout the trial. So when they're older, if they need to or want to have that information, I can give them the most accurate information possible.
While the trial may have been difficult, Tiffany explains that her toughest battle is still yet to come.
I filed my divorce. I just kind of want to move on with my life and create as good of a new normal as possible. I mean, life will never be the same without Owen, but I can't sit here and, spend every day thinking about what life would be with him either. I have two other children and a full busy life of people who depend on me to be in one piece.
Tiffany goes on to explain that she hopes people can understand that mistakes can be made. Unfortunately, in this situation, that mistake will haunt her and her family for the rest of their lives. Sarah?
All right, thanks, Levi. A very difficult situation, obviously. Well, Kenneth Adams is sentenced to 50 years behind bars for the death of Owen, which was the mandatory sentence for the charge. He is eligible for parole and could potentially be released sooner for good conduct.
A wood-burning stove is being blamed for a house fire in Worth County last night. Those living in that home outside Northwood escaped unharmed, but the home is considered a total loss. This time of year, when the weather is getting colder, people are going to start using wood burners to heat their homes, and local fire officials say proper maintenance is key to staying safe.
So a lot of those fires are caused because of improper maintenance. Haven't had them cleaned up. Sparks, sparks from the chimneys, make sure that you got a good 3-foot area around the front of the chimneys whenever you're burning.
And he recommends you get your chimney and any wood burning equipment cleaned at least once a year, preferably before the first fire of the winter.
Well, 1 year ago, a shooting wounded 5 people on a November weekend in southern Minnesota. It happened at Lansing Corners near Austin. And still, all this time later, there are no arrests in that case. When we first brought you the story, law enforcement told us they believed that it was gang-related and that people were not sharing details of the case because they were in fear. KIMT News 3's Jaron Rennie has been checking in on the case to see if any new leads have been developed. He is live with more.
Well, Sarah, law enforcement says they have ideas on who was behind the incident that took place here last year, but no answers. The event center was rented out for a concert last year that saw people come from as far as Minneapolis and Chicago. There were more than 200 in attendance. But Mower County Sheriff Therese Amazai is frustrated with the lack of cooperation. She says she has a hard time believing that no one out of the hundreds of people there saw anything happen. But they do have ideas on what took place.
We have identified the two that we believe were the shooters. Both of them have left the area, and they were not originally from this area to begin with, which makes this case even harder to track.
Now, Lansing Corners is under new ownership since the incident took place. It's going to be a restaurant and a bar like it used to be before it became an event center during last year's incident. Sarah?
All right, thanks for that update, Jaron. And Sheriff Amazai says that those who were shot in the incident have all been released from the hospital. They are still investigating, though, what happened. If you know anything, you're asked to call the Mower County Sheriff's Office.
Local airport is increasing security. The Mason City Airport is receiving a grant from the Iowa Department of Transportation for $25,000 to install a better surveillance system. That issue is coming up at an airport board meeting today. Right now, they're in the process of choosing the contractor that will install that system.
We told you last week how one local county was reviewing their policies when it comes to health insurance and domestic partnerships. Now it looks like Floyd County is moving forward with the idea and will cover domestic partners. Now, in a vote of 2-1, the amendment passed in a Board of Supervisors meeting earlier today. The public was invited to make comments on the issue, but in the end, supervisors decided that these couples would not take a financial toll on the county.
Let me put it this way. If you meet these criteria in this affidavit, this is not a casual living relationship. This is something you just don't get into 1 week and get out of and use as a means of applying for health and dental insurance benefits.
And the county plans to adopt the same rules for domestic partnership as the state of Iowa. And according to Iowa law, the state recognizes the unions for health benefits, but individual counties do not have to. Let's take a break from news, get to weather, and another really cold day. The sun kind of fooled you. You thought it was maybe going to be a little warm like me.
Well,
No.
I was listening to Adam very closely, and so I knew it was another cold day, and I also know that that might be changing a little bit. So let's hear from the man himself, Chief Meteorologist Adam Frederick in the Storm Team 3 Forecast Center. Yeah, I bundled up today. I was ready.
Good for you. And Sarah, pay attention to the forecast now, so that way you know tomorrow it's going to be warmer. So good news there. Warmer weather will be headed our way. Well, it's going to be a cold night for tonight, and the temperature will be climbing for tomorrow. Let's take a look at your storm through live site. Right now, Preston, the Fillmore Central Middle School, 15 degrees is the current temperature. Clear Lake sitting at about 19 degrees. But look at that morning temperature, about 4 degrees. Fairly calm winds outside right now. We will be seeing those winds picking up a little bit more as we go into tomorrow. That's going to start blowing some of that warmer air back into North Iowa and to the Minnesota. As far as what's going on in that CityCast this evening, we'll be hovering with those temperatures upper teens, mostly clear skies. By midnight, we'll be staying right around those 15-degree mark. But after midnight, we'll see a warm front lift through. That'll actually help bump those temperatures up a little bit as we head towards the beginning of the day. Lots of sunshine, that low temperature being set probably about 3 o'clock or so in the morning. But I'll tell you about just how much warmer it will be getting. And if there's another blast of cold air anytime soon, all that coming up in a few moments.
All right. Thank you, Adam. Most hunters take up the sport as a hobby, but you can also go hunting on behalf of those in need.
That's right, donating your deer. Find out how you can get involved and who you'll help. That story is coming up next. And here's a sneak peek of what we have for you at 10. A North Iowa town elected a local man as mayor, but here's a twist. He passed away just a few days before the election. Now the city council is trying to figure the best option to pick someone to take his spot. Plus, a new study says ethanol production is not the greatest for the environment. We'll talk to a local ethanol plant for their side of the story. That's tonight at 10.
You're watching KIMT News 3 at 6. News with Matt Bradley and Sarah Damick. Chief Meteorologist Adam Frederick with your Storm Team 3 weather. And sports with A.J. Ellingson. KIMT News 3. Coverage you can count on.
Our storm through live site in Canal at the West Hancock Middle School. Calm winds for the most part right now, 3-mile-per-hour wind. But it's been fairly calm this evening and a temperature of 21 degrees. This morning started off at about 4, definitely a chilly start to the day. Let's take a look and see what's happening outside on our live eye in the sky. Taking a look over towards the hospital in Albert Lee. We do have, clear skies, quiet conditions, but that's setting the stage for a chilly night ahead of us once again for tonight. As this morning was certainly a cold one. Your weather almanac for the day shows just how cold it was. We had those low temperatures that started off into the middle single digits, still about 10 or more degrees away from those record lows. We had Charles City at about 12 degrees for the low when that weather station came back online for today at the airport, with high temperatures making their way back into the mid to lower 20s. Now across the viewing area, those temperatures are sitting into the upper teens generally, a few mid-teens like with Rochester at 16 degrees. I expect to see those temperatures continue to drop off as we head into the night, and it certainly is going to feel a little bit cooler, especially if you have just a little bit of some wind out there. That wind chill is going to be sitting into the lower double digits, even a few single digits outside, but nothing too severely strong for winds. Those winds will be picking up more, though, for tomorrow. Across Midwest, Des Moines 28, Minneapolis 26. There's warmer air out here. We do have a warm front that's going to be making its way in. That's going to quickly be approaching our viewing area, and as it does, it will be bringing our temperatures up a bit as we go into tomorrow. And as we head into the weekend, we'll have another decent conditions. The temperatures will get back again into the upper 40s. Your satellite radar across Midwest shows how we have some mostly clear skies, just a few clouds in the eastern portion of our viewing area. But here's that warm front to our west. We have high pressure right now keeping our skies clear. That high will sag off to the south and east, but then we'll be watching for that warm front to lift through. You can see on your skycast, here comes that warm front through overnight. That's why we're expecting to see by tomorrow morning those temperatures actually climbing a little bit over the overnight lows, and then we'll blow some warm air in. Now the winds are going to be a little breezy at times, but that's going to help to bring that warmer air back into the region before we see a little bit of a dip with that cold front sliding by, and then a warmer weekend is ahead of us overall. When we look at what's happening in your overnight details, determining the forecast, mostly clear skies, lows into the mid-teens, southwest winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Then for tomorrow, we'll see mostly sunny skies. Highs will be into the upper 30s, lower 40s, southwest winds 11 to 21 miles per hour. And then tomorrow night, increasing clouds, overnight lows upper 20s to right around 30 degrees, southwest winds 11 coming down to 5 miles per hour. When we look at your 7-day weather forecast, we'll see mostly cloudy skies with that front passing by, a few isolated showers, temperatures hovering into the lower 40s, then back into the mid-40s on Friday, even a few mid to upper 40s on Saturday. We'll see mostly cloudy skies, increasing clouds later in the day on Saturday with a rain chance later Saturday into Sunday. A little disagreement on where the models are showing the storm system tracking exactly. 47 for Sunday, and then that cold front will come through, really bring some of that colder air back in. Temperatures dipping down once again into the mid to upper 30s. So chillier air, but that's going to be next week, so enjoy the warmer weekend. Maybe another one to be able to get out any of those last leaves that you have, maybe some Christmas lights up. I don't know, get outside before it gets colder once again.
And pay attention to that forecast.
There you go.
Nice and warm.
Sounds good.
Some indoor sports might be worth covering. That sounds pretty good. And volleyball definitely qualifies as that. It's becoming the norm to play in November for Charles City.
Last night we talked about the Comets' first-round opponent. It's one they know pretty well. They think somewhere along the lines of Iowa State, maybe Cubs, Cardinals. We know that one pretty well. Today the Comets taking on Waverly Shell Rock in a 4A quarterfinal in Cedar Rapids. Highlights and reaction from a classic at State are next. Matt Johnson says 6 of the 8 teams in this year's Class 4A state tournament bracket have a realistic shot at the title. That includes both Coach Johnson's Charles City Comets and their quarterfinal opponent, Waverly Shell Rock. These two Northeast Iowa Conference rivals split their 2 meetings during the regular season. Comets told us earlier in the week they need to stop Elena Gray, but no stopping that one. Go Hawks take game 1, 25-23. Game 2, more the same. Allie Arns with an ace. The Go Hawks win this one 25-17. Look on the right side of your screen. There's Marl Forsyth giving her team a pep talk. They need to get it going. There's Forsyth backing it up with a kill. The momentum is starting to turn. Jackie Foster finds the back corner for a kill. Comets take game 3, 25-23. Matt Johnson reminding his team a lot of volleyball still to go on the 4 set. Katie Wendell picks up a kill. She had 9. Then later, Jamie Sindlinger at the service line, and she's dialing up an ace. And look who's loving it up top. It's Jessie Sindlinger. Comets now in control. They win game 4, 25-23. Call them the comeback Comets, the cardiac kids. Call them whatever you want. Don't count them out. Forsyth jump serve leads to an ace. CC is back in the semifinals.
My goal was just to get everyone fired up, because at that point, it didn't matter how many games we lost. It didn't matter how bad you did at the last point. It matters 1 point at a time.
Knowing how to play when you're down 2 games, that's really what helped us. Last year, like you said, the state championship game, we were down 2. And then we came out and played with heart, and that's when things started to turn around. That's when we started winning the long points. We started extending points and winning them.
What the girls realized is that we weren't going to change anything dramatically from an X and O standpoint in those 3rd and 4th games. It was just a matter of coming out and competing a little more.
Charles City moves to 40-6 on the season. They'll be back in Cedar Rapids on Thursday, where they will face top-ranked Harlan, first serve at noon. The Nyack women's basketball team scored 105 points in last night's victory over Riverland. Here's the crazy part. They scored 105, but their points per game average actually went down. Coming into last night's game, their average was 112 points a contest, the best in JUCO's Division II. That average did slip to just over 110 points a game, but to be honest, who really cares? When you're putting the ball in the basket at this pace, you're going to be a tough team to stop, let alone beat over 40 minutes.
They do a really good job of just pushing the ball, and that's what we work on in practice. That's what we worked on from day one since we've had them here on campus. So they just keep pushing, and it works out. A couple of games we've had like 20-some assists on our shots, and that's great. Everyone passes the ball to the open girl.
The Trojans will look to make it 5 straight wins to start their year tomorrow night at 5:30 against the Yellow Jackets of RCTC. Like we saw last night, it's going to be a men's-women's doubleheader. Mark Moll's team will tip at 7:30. The Waldorf basketball team's in action tonight in a doubleheader. The women's game against Grandview currently underway. And then coming up at 7:30, the Warriors men's team will be taking on Viterbo. We'll have highlights at 10. For the 16th straight season, the Iowa State men's basketball team is 1-0. On Sunday, the Cyclones beat UNC Wilmington 95-62, thanks to Naz Long catching fire from deep. Long led the Cyclones with 26 points, including 8 3-pointers. In fact, Naz Long was named the Big 12 Conference's Player of the Week for his performance over the weekend, while teammate DeAndre Kane was named the league's Newcomer of the Week. Tonight, Fred Hoiberg's team turning their focus to Texas A&M Corpus Christi for our 7 o'clock tip-off. The Gophers also looking for their second win of the season inside the barn against Montana. One match, Charles City at State. What do you know? The Comets down 2, and then they just come back and win. What do you expect from that team?
That's awesome. About what you expect.
They've got some seniors that don't ever want to stop playing, so we'll follow them on Thursday.
We'll keep it up. All right, thanks, AJ. We'll be right back with Golden Apple.
It is time to honor another one of the top educators in our area with this week's Golden Apple Award.
We are honoring a teacher who's showing that a positive attitude can go a long way. Congratulations to Emily Sopko of Forest City Middle School. She is this week's Golden Apple Award winner.
How many gave the overall ending a 5? Raise your hand.
Middle school reading teacher Emily Sopko is all about telling stories, and not just the ones in books.
Believe it or not, middle schoolers are kind of interested in what their teacher is all about, and we are interested in what they are all about also. So we're always trying to connect with them in whatever way we can find. And when I share stories and they share stories, we build a relationship, and to me, that's number one.
To make that connection, she brings a positive attitude to class with her each and every day.
You decide your attitude, and you decide if you're going to have a good day. And I feel if I'm positive, they're going to look at me and say, oh, well, if she can be positive about this, and if she's passionate about this, then maybe I can be too.
And that passion is definitely having an effect on her students.
6th grade, I didn't really like reading, but now it's one of my favorite subjects.
Reading may not be every student's strongest subject, but Emily does her best to show them how important it is in their lives.
I tell them it's going to be in not just next year's class, but when you're in high school, when you're in college, and then when you're out of college. Whatever job that you have, you're going to have to read.
And some in her class will have a hard time saying goodbye as they move on from middle school.
I enjoyed her for 3 years. I think I'd rather have her for my rest of my high school year.
If you have a teacher deserving of this honor, nominate them by heading to our website at KIMT.com and clicking on the Golden Apple tab. With this week's award, I'm Annie Satowski.
All right, thanks, Annie. I loved reading. Well, I still read now.
That's a good thing.
But when I was younger, a lot of books.
Including in school.
Yes, yes, exactly.
It's a good skill to have.
Yes, you need
Highly
it.
recommended.
And if you read the weather maps, you're going to be seeing those temperatures staying kind of cold for tonight. All those temperatures down into the lower double digits, but tomorrow they're going to be climbing again back in the lower 40s and even some mid to upper 40s for the weekend. A chance for rain Saturday and Sunday.
But just rain.
Just rain
At
Saturday,
this point.
Sunday, then colder air.
Okay, well, we'll deal with the rain, whatever falls from the sky. We'll see you back here at 10.